United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item of business, approvals of the meeting, minutes from March 12th. Anybody have any changes or additions to the minutes?
Everybody looks at all.
All right, I'll make a motion to be approved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next item is 22 Sky Lane, WHUD tower replacement. Mr. Garduso?
Good evening. Thank you. Robert Gaudioso on behalf of Palm Isle Broadcasting.
I know last meeting you talked about the house, you were going to demolish that house.
Yes.
Did you get that, or?
Yes, actually, I have, and I can hand it up, a copy of the certificate of occupancy that the house was demolished and completely cleaned up.
Okay, great. Thank you. Give it to me. Okay. Great, okay, thank you. And I guess the next item was about the road.
Yes.
How are you going to?
So what we've agreed to would be to post an undertaking, and I think the town engineer had recommended $30,000, if I'm correct about that, and we have no objection to that. And the only thing that we would ask is that there be a process. So we've already hired a professional engineer that has experience with roads, going to telecommunications towers. Mr. Steve Burns, who's here this evening, he's already inspected the road, documented it, videotaped it. What we would ask is maybe to have a site visit with the town engineer prior to construction, agree to the documentation of the current existing road, and then have another inspection after the construction is done. If the engineers agree, if there's damage done, we would agree to repair it. If for some reason the engineers disagreed about the level of damage or the cause of the damage, we would just ask to be able to come back and present our position to the board and let the board make the ultimate decision. But we don't have any objection to posting the undertaking or having the town engineer inspect it along with our engineer and documenting it all along the way.
All right, well, I don't see any problem with that. That's a good idea, and then Mr. Gainey can handle that. He could examine it. The only question I had, I read that in your email, if there's a disagreement there, you want to come back before us?
Well, I just think that if
We're not the civil court.
I think that if there's a decision, if there's a disagreement, so if Mr. Gaynor thinks that we did $100,000 worth of damage and we think there was zero damage, I think we would just have to come back and ask the board for its determination.
No, I wouldn't go with that, because if he says $100,000 worth of damage and we're going to go with our town engineer, that would be the decision. So that you of course would be a court. You can go to a different court, a civil court or something like that. But we're not a civil court. How am I going to make a decision on that?
Well, I think I did forward to you a letter of credit, and
Right.
I think the applicant has agreed, based on the recommendations from our town engineer, that in his estimation a $30,000 posting should be sufficient to cover possible damage to the roadway that would be used to access the installation of this cell tower. So,
That would be on a letter of credit.
correct. Now, if there's no damage whatsoever, assuming that Mr. Gaynor looks at the road afterwards, then the letter of credit would be returned, nullified, whatever. If there was some damage, and again, we're using $30,000 as our estimate of an outer boundary, if Mr. Gaynor indicated that by his estimation, for example, there was $18,000 of damage, but the applicant thought there was only 13. Again, the most efficient way to deal with that would be simply to present the estimates to this board, and we would make a determination. Hopefully, we'd never get there.
How could I possibly ask the zoning board? We're becoming a court of everything. Last month we were making code enforcement decisions. Now you're asking that he's going to inspect the road, the engineer is going to inspect the road. We're not going to inspect the road. Okay, we rely on the town engineer.
Correct.
Now, if he says there's $18,000 worth of damage, that's a done deal to me, unless anybody feels differently.
Oh, I agree.
So I don't know what we're doing
Well,
here.
I mean, we're not saying that,
I'm not gonna judge and jury, damage to the road if I've never seen it, I don't know anything about it. How can I possibly decide that?
well,
I'm not gonna do
what,
it.
what would be the alternate process to
Civil
posting?
penalty, you have to take it to court. I mean, he's familiar with courts.
I mean, are you comfortable with that? Is that would be the appeal process? Is that what? It
I
just-
mean, what it would do in essence is, if you want to go that route, it would be a $30,000 letter of credit. If there's no damage, the letter of credit would be nullified. If there is some disagreement, and again, we would have to build it into as a condition of the approval, the remedy would be commencement of a proceeding in Putnam County, Supreme Court, Putnam County, if it came to that.
Yeah, I think this is a real remote situation, given the circumstances. I mean, we trust Mr. Gaynor's opinion. The heaviest piece of equipment will be a cement truck. There's been heavier equipment going up there to some of the construction sites. We just want to make sure that we kind of cross Ts and dot Is, and if you're comfortable with the fact that we would have the right, and that was built into the resolution, we'd have the right to challenge that. Again, I don't want to wish any bad ill on Mr. Gaynor, but if something happened to Mr. Gaynor and someone wasn't as reasonable in his position in 3 months from now, it might lower our comfort level. So as long as you're comfortable with that, and we can put that in the resolution, I think that would be fine.
We can do that.
Do it that way? Okay. 'Cause I'm not comfortable coming back here with that. All right, anything else?
No, I think those were the two main issues, and I
Right,
think we
I
made a
think
lot
so.
of progress over the past 6 weeks.
Chairman,
Yes.
can we agree on a timing? You know, the residents on Ridge Road, you know, don't want to wait 6 months, 8 months, a year if there's no agreement. As long as there's an agreement, we should tell them 30 days, 60 days, whatever Mr. Gladioso feels comfortable with, that if there's an agreement, it will be done within a certain time frame. What you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. I think that
From
once,
completion of it, you mean? Is that from one, the tower
Let's
is
say
complete?
there's damage, and everybody agrees that the damage was done from the constructions.
Okay.
Should be, okay, you agree, within 60 days, 90 days, whatever, I'm gonna do the repair.
yeah, I'd say 90 days, weather, with the understanding weather permitting.
Depends on the weather.
Yeah, weather permitting. I mean, we don't want to lay asphalt in the middle of winter. So
No, of course.
maybe 90 days, subject to extension by the town engineer under the,
once the
applicable
agreement is reached.
construction and weather issues,
So we agree on 90 days?
90 days.
90 days.
with the ability of the town engineer to extend that
Right.
based
And
on
depending on the weather, of
on weather and those
Okay.
types of circumstances.
Okay, I guess, anything, anybody want to speak on this? Unless you have anything, to say. Anybody else and want to speak regards this? Yes. Just come up here, identify yourself, please.
John Spina, 60 Ridge Road, resident. We as residents feel that it's inevitable that any damage that's going to happen is not going to be visible right away. It's really just a driveway, like I said last meeting. So by us taking pictures of the road, seeing what potholes are there, and then coming back in after the construction and say, okay, there's no additional potholes, everything is fine. It's going to undermine the road. There's no question. It undermines it with just car traffic right now, and there's potholes all over the place. It's broken off on the edges. I don't know who's going to determine what potholes are going to get fixed. This pothole was damaged. This pothole wasn't there. It just seems so vague that we're going to just randomly say, there's no damage done. With trucks, cement trucks, they're heavy. It's 1.5 inches of blacktop. It's like driving a cement truck on your driveway. I can't believe that we're just saying nothing's going to happen, and if it does happen, it should be visible after the construction. I don't buy it. I don't buy it that we're going to be able to determine that this is going to happen immediately after, and these signs are going to be visible.
Well, Mr. Gaudioso is going to have his licensed engineer, and the town is going to have our licensed engineer, going to take pictures, going to review the road. The road's not in great shape to begin with.
It's not.
Okay?
We're trying to stop that.
Let's be honest. I've been up the road a number of different times to check on it and all like that and see the thing. It's not, so there's problems there, number one.
Right.
And I don't expect Mr. Gaudioso to repair the whole road. I mean, he's going to go and repair damage that, if any damage was caused by the construction.
Who's going to determine what damage was caused prior to and afterwards, and what future damage by undermining the base that's there with these cement trucks?
Well, we're going to have their engineer and our town engineer, okay? And they're going to agree on what damage is there now, and if any damage afterwards, they'll agree on that. And then, like we said, they'll agree on the price to.
I
Wait,
got
let me
it.
finish.
Okay.
They'll agree on the price, if there's a price to fix it, if it has to be fixed, or so on and so forth. We trust our town engineer, that's why we have him, okay? As far as afterwards, any damage, I can't ask him to possibly cover damage for the next 10 years or something like that. I mean, it could be somebody going up with a cement truck tomorrow. I mean, a house was built up there. It looked like it's a poured cement foundation, so I'm sure
Right.
there were concrete trucks going up to build the house up there.
There was, and it was a second
Okay.
access
So, and it
into
could be
Putnam
And
Valley.
it could be a concrete truck or a heavy truck going up the day after the job is complete. We don't know
Right.
that.
But again, towns ask companies all the time to make repairs or make improvements to projects. It happens all the time, and I can't see why this wouldn't happen in this case. That
It is happening.
some repairs,
I'm totally lost.
not- because there's no
Conversation.
clear understanding as to what is really going to happen, who's going to do the negotiating as to whether it's going to get repaired, potholes are going to get filled, or anything gets
The
done.
town attorney and the town attorney and the town engineer, and their attorney and their engineer.
Okay, so it's out of our hands.
I
You
mean,
know,
we just asked them to post a $30,000 bond in case we have to repair the road.
Okay.
can't ask for any more.
No, you can't ask for any more, but I'm saying that potholes aren't going to appear after these trucks. It's not going to
Yeah, but
happen.
they could-
And we all know
But that
that.
doesn't mean that because they ran a heavy truck out of it, pothole appears 6 months after that it was their fault.
Okay,
Could be anybody's fault.
okay. I'm just telling you how we all feel.
I
We
understand
feel
how you
that way.
feel, and I'm going to tell you what the law is and what the zoning board does, and I think we're going out of our way to make sure that there's a letter of credit there instead of a bond, which means they could just take the money out right away. You know what I'm trying to say? So the money's there. The money, they're willing to put the money up front. But that road is not in the best shape, so you can't blame them.
We're only trying to keep it in as good a shape as we can.
And, we
because
agree
we, as residents, repair it. The
Well, that's
town doesn't
why-
come in and fill it.
That's why we're having them put up to $30,000.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any other questions? Okay. Any board members have any questions on this application, or this is on a public hearing, or any questions, or?
No.
All right, did I make a motion? Ron, does they have everything for the town? Are we missing anything?
Again, the last plans that were submitted go back to, I think, January.
Gotta go, things, I'm getting a pointer from the director over there.
They go back to January of this year. We issued a technical memorandum to the board that was dated this past February. There were some statutory questions we had raised on the application, which the town attorney had responded to indicate the application was considered complete. And we have some minor plan issues that have to be resolved, and that should just be a condition of any action this board takes.
All right, so how do you want that worded in the resolution, condition?
I think,
If
I think
depending-
as a condition, you can just identify the date of my resolution, my memorandum, as any technical issues in that memorandum have to be resolved prior to the endorsement by the chairman.
And the resolution should also indicate that it's subject to the posting of a letter of credit in the amount of $30,000 to protect against any damage or losses that might be caused by the installation of the new tower. And we will then work on a resolution, and the wording of that resolution, I'll work certainly with applicant's attorney, and that will present that to you for signature.
Do you have any objection to any of that, Mr. Gaudioso?
No, that's fine. I think we may have cleaned up Ron's comments, but we'll double check on that, and as long as we just want to get started in the process of filing for the building permit application, just so we could beat next winter. I know it seems so far off since we finally got a sunny day today, but time in the summertime tends to drift by, so we appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, make a motion this time that the public hearing be closed.
A second?
All in favor?
All right.
Okay, make a motion this time, roll call vote on the approval or disapproval of the replacement tower,
Subject to the conditions that we discussed.
subject to all the conditions that we discussed,
Gonna second it?
especially the 30,000. And we got to get the road fixed if it's broken. Okay, second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, it's a roll call vote on the approval, disapproval.
I approve.
Mr. Sistone approves replacement. Mr. Wynn,
I approve.
approve?
I approve.
You approve?
I approve as well.
I approve. It's unanimous that the application is approved for the replacement of cell tower 22 Sky Lane, and depending, of course, on a resolution of the conditions in the resolution.
Thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next order of business is public hearing, the Nave Group and Todd Berlin, 22 Hudson River Lane. Yes. Okay, now you're looking to put a pool, in-the-ground pool, right?
Yes, sir.
At 22 Hudson Road, which is right on the Hudson River itself.
That's correct.
You were here a couple of months ago, and I sent you to the Conservation Board, but you did get approval from the Conservation.
We did get approval, conservation, yes.
Okay. Now, tell us, you're looking for a couple of variances here. You're looking for, I guess it's 12 feet, 5 inches, is that what it is, on the north side?
Correct. So essentially, the house itself has that same current setback. So we're going to keep the pool in line with the house. It's on a non-conforming lot where we can't meet either setback from either side, being the 30 feet and the lot's only 50 feet in width. So we'll need a variance on the north and the south side.
On the south side, you're looking for a 0 side yard.
I saw that on there, that came through on the notes. There's a 4-foot existing, and that's what we want to maintain.
So you're looking for a 12-foot, 5-inch side yard setback on the north side of the property,
Correct. And then on the south side from the pool itself.
where
is-
30 foot is required. There's no 30 feet, nobody down there has 30 feet.
No,
on the
you just
side- on
can't.
the side,
Correct.
right? And then you're looking for a 0 lot line on the south side, no, 4 foot, I'm sorry.
Well, there's 4 foot is the existing house. To the pool is 26 feet. There was
Okay.
a potential outdoor shower that was going to go on that south side. That is not happening anymore.
Yeah, you're gonna have a tough time getting 0, so I would say go with the 4 feet.
Right, exactly.
Okay, 4 feet on the south side.
Just so to clarify, this is the construction of a pool and a deck.
Correct.
Right.
And just to make it clear, on the north side, from the side yard lot line, whatever improvements are going to be set back 12 feet, 5 inches on the north, from the side yard lot line on the north. I just want to get that. And on the south, it'll be, is it 13 feet, 2 inches? The deck will be 13 feet, 2 inches from the south side yard?
There's an existing deck here now, a smaller one, and we're going to extend that and then run behind it.
So that'll be 13 feet, 2 inches.
Correct.
And the pool itself will be 23 feet, 2 inches from the south side yard lot line. Is that correct? Okay.
You should get right there in the line.
I'm sorry?
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that the numbers were accurate.
You know, there's no problem, I know the lots are very small there. That was an old-time fishing area, I think, if someone built his cottages or stuff, so I
Right.
know. I read one thing about, in the approval from the Conservation Board, they said you're not gonna store any chemicals on the property or something like that. Was that
That is correct. So
how are you gonna take care of the pool if there's no chemicals? I
we
guess-
bring the chemicals in on our vans when we service it, and then as far as the chlorine goes, it's actually generated on site through a salt chlorine generator.
Okay.
So there won't be any, vats of chlorine or acid or anything like that staying there. No DE for filters. It's all cartridge. So again, just no chemicals.
I have a question. I didn't see any fence around the pool. Aren't you required to have a fence around the pool?
So that was one of the things I'm actually going to discuss with the building department. There is a fence currently on the north and south side, and on the east, on the east side,
But not directly
between the
around.
river and the pool. They did put one up to contain their children for right now. It probably will not meet pool code. So I need to talk to the building inspector. But again, also about the feasibility of, you're essentially coming from a body of water to protect from going into another body of water. So I wanted to make sure, where the building department would stand on that.
The fence isn't there to protect from water, it's there to protect from children wandering into a pool.
Right.
Understood, but what I'm saying is having the river there.
But you're telling me you have fences on 3 sides?
Correct, and now there is a
And you think
fence.
a little child ain't gonna walk around a fence?
No. So, or come in through the house. So the fence currently surrounds the house. I need to deal with the building department on where they're gonna want us
You
to put
need
the
to show
fence.
us you're putting a fence all the way around the pool.
We are.
Okay.
We're gonna do the enclosure as according to New York State Pool Code. I need to check with the building department to see what other requirements they're gonna have, given that there's a body of water right there.
Yeah, but shouldn't the drawings reflect, the fence that you're going to put up?
Yes, this does reflect the fence, so it is down here.
Well, not on all sides, though.
No, it doesn't reflect the fence around the pool as
No,
of
right,
now.
right.
No.
Right, so there is a fence here, and then it goes to the garage, and there's a fence that goes right
Yeah, but
here.
that's
That's
of
a
no
garage
value,
fence.
that's of no value to us. What we're looking for is a fence around the pool itself. And you know you have to do that, but you want to go to the building inspector to know about the code, is that correct?
Right, so it's a bit unique here in that, the house itself is enveloped in a fence. So there's a fence that comes along the front of the house to the garage, and then from the garage to the property line. And then there's a fence along the property line here as well. And then it goes around. So what we typically need to figure out is how we can protect from anyone that's in the house them from getting out into the pool area. Whether it just be the door alarms or what they're gonna require.
Yeah, but what we're looking for is children from the outside to go onto the property and get into the pool without having a fence around.
So right now, there is the whole
Without
property is
swimming in
fenced.
the river to get.
No, I've been down
That's
there.
what
Kids can, it's easy to get on the property. I was there, okay? It's not fenced in all around.
Perhaps since then, the only clarification I would need is maybe on this side, but they added a fence down here.
Well, how about, I'll tell you what.
Okay.
If it gets approved, we'll put in a contingency that the fence has to be completely surrounding the pool according to New York State code.
Okay, we can do that.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions on this pool? Or any,
How high out of the ground is is the fencing gonna be?
The fencing,
Yeah, you're gonna,
it needs to be a minimum of 4 feet.
say again?
4 feet for the fence, per New York State code.
whatever the New York State code is
Yeah.
here.
Right.
Yeah, I have another question. Your certificate of occupancy that you provided says Manitou River Road, Station Roads, Garrison, doesn't say 22 Hudson River Lane.
The 2 addresses don't match up.
I understand. We requested the certificate of occupancies from the town, and I included in the packet what was in there. Is that, is there different ones?
Well,
There's multiple C of Os on the property. Is there one maybe that was just in the file
Maybe it
incorrectly?
became Hudson River Lane.
I don't know. Okay, here, one does say 22 Hudson River, but it's for the garage and the
Yeah, I think
deck.
that happened years ago. Those houses are so old. I think when it happened, a lot of them didn't have COs to begin with. And then if they put something in later on, like a garage, they would get a CO for the garage and all like that. I think that's what's happened down there.
Yeah, we did have some trouble finding
Yes,
the older.
ma'am.
Just, if I could clarify that.
You have to come
We
up.
used to get our,
Come up and
my name is
just,
Sean Sullivan, 8 Hudson River Lane. We used to get our mail on Manitou Station Road. So our mailing address was Manitou Station. Then when 911 came along, they actually named our lane. So, and we all have box numbers on the lane.
that answers that.
So
Thank you.
maybe that answers the question.
Yep,
I
that
don't
does.
know.
That helps us, yeah.
Thank you.
And also on the short environmental assessment form, you didn't answer questions 1 and 2.
Let's ask him, see if we can ask him now. Does the proposed action only involve the legislative adoption of a plan, local law, ordinance, administrative rule, or regulation? That's a tough one. Does the proposed action only involve the legislative adoption of a planned local law, ordinance, administration, rule, or regulation? Yes or no? What's the answer?
That's your answer?
The answer is no.
No, right?
No.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
They're
All
not
right.
seeking the legislative adoption of a planned local law, ordinance, administrative rule, or regulation.
This is the short form, right?
Yeah.
Does the proposed action require a permit, approval, or funding from any other government agency? No.
No.
You're not taking that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? That answers those questions.
Sorry we didn't have that filled out.
That's no problem. Anything else? Anybody else? Anybody have any other questions on this pool? I just want to go over the 5 factors quickly, so,
Just to be
go ahead.
accurate about it, they did receive approval from the Conservation Board.
Correct.
So technically, you could answer to as yes, but you did get the approval, which this board was notified of, just to be clear about that.
Okay.
I'm just bringing that up. I got a very dirty look from our esteemed buildings.
It was her official look.
It was a nonverbal elbow in the ribs, so.
All right, let's see. What am I looking for? Looking for the 5 factors. Did you fill out the 5 factors?
Right now, I'm not gonna vote because if they show me put a fence around it, I'm not voting.
Well, here's,
Well, you're gonna put a fence, it's gonna be in the resolution. That
Okay,
fence
as long
has
as
to be
it's in
put
the
around it.
resolution.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, no, they
Fence
have to
is-
show me that they're gonna put a fence around this thing.
Fence is
Yeah,
gonna.
we have to do a fence in order to close out the permit from the building department. What I'm saying is that.
Well, we're gonna put in resolution just so
Right.
there's no,
Right.
there's no
So the
question.
client has put up a
Right.
fence to keep the kids out of the river right now, so I'm trying to figure out how we can,
Right. How far are you from the river? 30 feet, 40 feet?
is the pool?
Yeah, from the Hudson.
Yeah, about 30 feet.
They're gonna put an in-ground pool 30 foot from the river. That floods. God bless. Okay, let's see. What possible deterrent would the variance have on nearby properties? How close are nearby structures? Now, in your answer, I do not see any detriment in granting a variance to nearby properties. The pool would not obstruct any views. It will only enhance the appearance of the backyard. The closest structure to the north is approximately 65 feet away, and the structure to the south is 40 feet away. Well, those houses are very close down there. There's only, I think, 13, 14 houses down there or something like that. They're all pretty close to each other. I don't see any obstruction of view or anything else like that. Do you? Anybody?
No.
no, but if it floods,
Well, if it floods, that's his problem. That's the owner's problem. I mean, if it floods, that's.
No,
they're
no, I
taking
know,
a-
but it might
You
could-
know we do as a flooding,
It-
but you got a conservation board.
Yeah.
I'm aware, and
permit,
the
so.
client's aware of the past history
Yeah,
with the
okay.
property. and-
but, yeah, but it could affect nearby properties if it floods. That's,
Well, I don't know
I
about
don't
that.
know, Paul, I think if one floods, the whole place will
Yeah,
be flooded.
your water, whether it's river water or chlorine water, it's the same water, I think. All right, number 2. If you didn't get the variance, how else could you build and what would you accomplish your goal? Well, the only thing you do would be a small above-ground pool, I guess, or something like that, right?
Well, even then, we wouldn't meet the setback
You would,
requirements.
you can't do anything down there without a
Without a
variance or anything
variance.
else
The
like
lot's
that.
only 50 feet wide, so.
So it's only 50 feet wide to begin with. You're right. What code requirements you seek to vary and how large is variance to seek? Well, we went over that. Do you have those numbers? Was it 13 something on one side?
Right, we went over that, it's in the record. It's 12.5 feet from the north side yard lot line. On the south side, the pool will be 23 feet 2 inches from the south side yard lot line, and the deck will be 13 feet 2 inches from the south side yard lot line.
Okay. What impacts or effect will a variance have on the current physical and environmental conditions of the area? Is there grading or blasting proposed? You're not gonna blast, you're just
No,
gonna,
we're
there's
just
no place to
gonna-
blast.
No.
It's all underwater. You're just gonna dig, how far are you gonna dig down? I'm curious.
So we only need to dig down about 2.5 feet, since we're gonna be raised out of the ground, so we're gonna go down and put our gravel drainage layer underneath, and then the concrete, and then everything else is above ground.
Okay. Is the variance requested a result of self-created hardship? Was there need for a variance when you purchased the property? How long ago did you purchase the property? We have that. Did you build a structure out of permit? No. So, self-created, I guess, you can look at it a million different ways. Not, she wants
To
to,
me, it's
Put a pool.
self-created. It's self-created.
right, so it is self-created because you want to put a pool in. I mean, as far as that goes, it's,
Well, I
you don't
understand-
have to put a pool in. I
Right,
guess
I
I don't know
understood-
how else to
right.
say it. You know what I'm trying to say? So you did bring it upon the person that decided to do that themselves.
I took self-created as if, if there's another place on the property to put a pool, but you're trying, as though we were trying to put it in a setback.
No, it's like it's,
I mean, by buying a non-conforming lot, I guess, is that,
right, when you buy anything you do with a lot like that, you're going to have to need variances
Right.
like that, so. All right. Okay, is there anybody here want to speak about this? Yes, please sit down, please. Just come up and identify yourself.
Hi, John Sullivan, 8 Hudson River Lane. And I just have a question about, it looks like they're going to put the pool up 18 inches.
correct,
It'll be 18 inches above the ground level that's there now.
exactly.
Okay. And Sandy and Irene and Lee, all those, most of those homes down there had 4 feet of water in them. So I don't know how 18 inches is going to be sufficient. I'm not making a statement to you guys as much as I'm making a statement to the people putting in the pool that it's not going to be out of the 100-year floodplain that's just been proven in the last 10 years twice.
I agree with
They had 55,000 gallons of water in the basement of that house, as the fire department, Garrison Fire Department said that they pumped out. And that's not, I mean, it's,
That was my concern also. That's the reason I sent it to the Conservation Board several months ago.
right,
On the Conservation Board, they're kind of the body that decides that type of thing, is a
Right.
flooding plan like that. And they gave an approval. We have written approval from the Conservation Board. So I agree with you 100%. I wouldn't put a pool, next to the Hudson River, but I'm not
Right.
doing it. So, this person wants to do it, and if it floods, it floods, and, that's kind of like their issue.
right.
It's not going to damage your property anymore.
Nope.
No, it's only going to damage your own. So it's kind of like, take it upon
Okay,
yourself.
I mean, the board has approved homes built down there, not really out of the 100-year floodplain either. So I
Correct.
just want to make aware that this
Right.
18 inches is not going to be above the floodplain by any means.
I'm with you, but it's not my pool.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any other? Any questions from the board? Any board?
He wants to
I'm sorry?
respond.
I don't have any questions. I'll just stay
What? I'm sorry?
I said I don't have any questions.
Okay.
I just, didn't know if
sit
you had
down.
any other questions, so just sit down.
Okay.
Stretch a little.
Don't push your luck. All right, at this point in time, I make a motion that the public hearing be closed.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll take a vote on issuing a variance for the building of the pool. Mr. Sistone?
I vote to deny.
Deny. Mr. Lim?
I'll vote to approve.
Okay, so we got one deny, one approve. Mr. Bennett?
I vote to approve.
Approve?
I vote to deny.
Deny? Oh, always got to throw it on me, huh? Well, my concern was with the Conservation Board, because I felt that it was too close to the water and everything else like that, but he went to the Conservation Board, he got a permit, so I'm going to have to vote to approve it. So it's 3-2, so it is approved. You'll have to wait till you get a resolution. Our attorney makes up the resolution, he sends the resolution to us, and then I sign it. Okay?
Thank you for your time.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Next order of business is 28 Lane Gate Road. This is a public hearing for applications proposes that, I know we had an issue with the sideline, but 26-foot 1-inch sideline, and what, did we change that the last time?
We changed that.
To what?
We got an updated denial letter from the building inspector, getting the dimensions correct.
Okay. Give me the new ones.
Okay. 20 feet, 1 1/4.
20 feet, 1 1/4.
That is the side yard variance we are seeking.
1 1/4.
Yeah,
Who's going to do all this measurement? That's the
Well-
1 1/4.
that's AutoCAD for you.
All right.
It's exact.
Side yard setback. And is that north, south, or what
It's on the
location?
southwest side of the house.
And then you're asking for
You
a
said southwest?
Yes.
southwest side.
And it's 20 feet, 1 inch, 1¼ inches.
Correct.
And you're looking for a 22.4% impervious coverage where 10% is maximum allowed.
That's
And,
correct.
A 21.7 already exists.
Yes.
Okay, so you're looking to go from 21.7 to 22.4, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Okay, then want to explain to us what you're trying to do here with this
Sure.
addition?
Yes, this is, so you have the revised letter and the certificates of occupancy were also the elements that were missing last time. So we submitted those.
I have a question.
Tara did, actually.
I have a question on that also. The certificate of occupancy that you submitted, first of all, it just says Lane Gate Road. It doesn't say the number on Lane Gate Road. And then I looked at the tax map number that's listed on the certificate of occupancy.
Okay.
It doesn't match the tax map number on your appeal.
Well,
Yeah, that is.
we went to the building department, and the building department called us and said that they submitted the right ones. So,
Uh,
They don't match up.
It was?
Well, for the entire town, they changed at one point in time. Like, you'll see the ones from 80, 90, the first one's from 73, so that's why it's got the 39, 2, 9.2.
Right, right.
And then it was changed some point after 97, they all changed.
Okay.
we wondered the same thing because it didn't have the number of the road
Right,
on it.
Right,
But we were trusting that they got the right ones.
okay.
So, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
us what
so
you're doing.
I'm Justin Caker from Highlands Architecture, and my clients are Denise Grillo and Denny Clark, 28 Lane Gate Road. The existing house is non-conforming, and we've designed a two-story addition. It's 12 feet by 20 feet. We've also extended the deck slightly on the southwest. The first floor level of the addition is a garage, and the second floor is a kitchen. We've located this based on the site constraints, the driveway location, and also the existing conditions of the existing house layout to make this addition as simple as possible, adding on to the existing kitchen and the plumbing and the roof lines. So we've tried to keep this addition very simple, rectangular, relatively small. Yes, it is in the side yard setback, but the existing house is already non-conforming. The lot is small. It's 0.91 of an acre in a 5-acre zone. Hence, that's why we have we're over the impervious as well. So already the impervious is 21.7. The maximum is 10%. So that's what we're looking at right now. So we think it's a good location for the addition. We've looked at some other options. We think this works well with the driveway. I don't know if any of you have been there, but when you drive up, it's a good location to then turn into the new garage bay door. And the roof lines as well, low slope pitch, nice looking, good scale and proportions with the existing house. So,
Okay. How many square feet are you adding to the house?
well, each floor level is 12 by 20, so it's a total of 480.
Okay. And what square footage of your house now is what, roughly? Any idea?
1750.
Anywhere in 480. Okay.
That's about it.
That's about it?
Yeah, I have elevations if you'd like to see them.
Any questions from anybody on board? Anybody? Okay. Anybody in the audience would like to speak regarding this? Okay. We note that there's nobody to speak on it. So, all right, so this time I'll go over the 5 factors and just see where we're at. What possible detriment would the variance have on nearby properties? Your answer, we do not believe there would be any detriment to nearby properties. A structure will be somewhat visible. Exterior lantern-type lights will flank the new garage door. What impacts would the variance have on the character of the neighborhood? Minimal impact. On your answer, only 364-foot land disturbance on a relatively low slope. House currently is smaller than others in the area. We do not believe that the neighborhood will change with the granting of these variances. Let's see, if you didn't get this variance, how else could you build, or what would you want to accomplish your goal? Project is not feasible in any other location. Based on existing construction, topography, property line setbacks, interior plan layout, additions proposed are relatively small. What code is requirement is you seek to verify? Side yard setback, impervious surface coverage. But like I said, there's already 21% coverage there already, right?
Yes.
And you're looking to increase that to what, 22?
22.4, yeah.
Okay. Let me mark that. What impact effect would the variance have on the current physical and environmental conditions in the area? You got no blasting is proposed, adding 204-foot square feet of paved driveway on flat area on site. No wetlands to our knowledge. Normal drainage patterns will be improved with our addition. This will be a 22.843 away from existing well. Okay, it's 22.3 away from the new corner of granite of the garage addition. No traffic increase. Okay. In the variance requested as a result, is it self-created hardship? You got, no, not a self-created hardship. Everybody answers the question the same way. It is a self-created hardship because it's something you don't have to do.
Right.
It's simple. It's not a hard question.
Right.
Okay. But that doesn't mean
We
that you
just
can't get
looked
the
at it as
variance.
no-
That doesn't mean that the variance is not going to be approved. I'm just trying to say is that it was created by the person because they want to build something.
Correct.
Okay. Now, as far as, like, a different portion of the house was built with a 50-foot rear yard setback area. What do you mean by that?
The rear yard setback is 50 feet. The house was built in 1973 with no regard for setbacks. So it's just placed up in the upper corner of the lot. So about half of the house is already in that setback.
Okay. Any board members have any questions? No. The letters were sent to neighbors and all like that. We have that, letters from everybody sent to neighbors and nobody's here. Okay, so I guess there's no objection to neighbors if nobody showed.
Wasn't the code in effect in 1973?
I'm sorry?
Was the code in effect, the zoning code in 1973?
I'm not really
But you
sure, but
disregarded the
whoever
zoning
built the
code and
house, I
just
mean,
built it where you wanted?
they just built it there. And when we offset the property lines and the setbacks, we just realized that a lot of the house was already non-conforming. So I have no idea whether
Right.
in 1973 they were,
But it does have
abiding
a-
by the zoning.
It does have a CO for it. There is a certificate
Yeah.
of occupancy. for it,
Yes.
so. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I just want to make a motion that the public hearing be closed. All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, take a roll call vote on the variances required. Mrs. Stone?
I vote to approve.
Mr. Lynn?
I'll vote to approve.
Mr. Bennett?
I vote to approve.
I vote to approve
You
as
vote- you
well.
okay? And I vote to approve. It's unanimous. There again, you have to wait for the resolution to come to the town hall, and then I have to sign it, and it gets filed with the clerk. Okay? All right, thank you. Next is application for completion of 69 Highview Terrace. Anybody here for that? Come on, court, please. I had a pre-application meeting with you, I think, and we discussed it. You don't need any variances. You don't need a side yard, you don't need a front yard. All you need is the variance for the town, says you can only build a garage so many square feet. You need that. You have a
Right,
bigger
correct.
garage, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
How big is the garage you're looking for?
2494, I believe.
2494
Yeah.
square foot garage.
Yeah, basically 2,500 square feet.
I'm sorry?
Basically 2,500 square feet.
Or is it
Yeah.
2494 or 25?
Oh, just rounding up, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, 2494, okay, good. And in town code right now it says there's only, I think it's 1,000 or 1,000, right? Yeah, only 1,000 feet is available, yeah. What are you gonna do in the garage?
Well, I put a attachment on here. I'll just read it to you here.
Yeah, but I'm asking
Make
you.
sure. Basically, we have a cheap modular house from the 70s, and it's very narrow. It's 23 feet wide. The garage is very narrow. We can't really park our cars in there. We have larger four-wheel drive vehicles, as we're both teachers, and we commute way down to Westchester. So just for safety, we have four-wheel drive vehicles, and I can't fit those in there. They're always sitting in the driveway. We have an extra car as well. I have a boat that I'd like to store in there. I don't have a shed on the property, so I'd like to store my snow blower, my leaf blower, my tractor, all those types of things. We also don't have any storage in the attic because we have truss system up there. So it's a small house to begin with, and we have stuff crammed everywhere. So we like to have some extra storage. In addition to that, my wife's parents are getting up in age, and they may be moving in with us as well. So
Lucky you.
we would just like to have some more room. We have a small house, and we're not adding on to the house, but we would just like to have the space. And we've been living there for 30 years, and we would like to stay. We don't plan on moving when we retire, and just to have place for my hobbies when I retire. And I know a lot of people add onto their house. We would just like to have a nice
This is
sized
another
garage. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Well, this is just for completion. Is there anything anybody saw that wasn't in here, missing? Does he need any more information? Anybody have any, that you read? Okay. Your application looks complete. So what
Okay,
we do
great.
now, it looks complete. So
Okay,
we're
great.
going to vote on it, though, that is complete. Then what we do after that, the town, our secretary will mail out letters to the neighbors, okay?
Right.
And then there'll be a meeting on our next meeting, which is May 14th, I believe, right? Yeah, May 14th. And 7:30, the same time. And this way it gives your neighbors, it's 7:30, same place. This way it gives your neighbors, if they want to ask any questions or anything else like that or about it.
I don't know if you're interested in a copy of this letter, but the garage, the property that the garage is going to be right next to, I got a letter from my
That is
neighbor,
in here, right?
if you'd like to.
That's in here. We'll discuss that.
No, it's not in there. I have a copy of it if you'd like.
make-
it.
We all get a copy.
I'm sorry?
5 copies, 6 copies, so we all get a copy.
I have 8 copies here.
All right, and just leave them with the secretary.
Okay.
And she'll include it into packet that she mails out. She mails out a package of any information comes with us, and so we'll have it for the meeting.
Okay,
so
very good.
At this time, I make a motion that the application is complete.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
And we're going to set this for a public hearing for May 14th. And that gives you enough time to send out everything, right, Kara? Okay. So May 14th, and you'll be here, and then we'll make a decision then.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Next one is the application completion for 28 and 30 Hudson River Lane. Yes.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Michael Licori. I'm a partner at Hogan & Rossi, Brewster, New York. I'm an attorney. I represent Dana and Kevin Raymond in connection with the redevelopment of their property, 28 and 30 Hudson River Lane. We've made a fairly comprehensive submittal to the zoning board in connection with their plans, together with their proposed renderings, a proposed site plan, survey of the property to show what exists at 28 and 30 Hudson River Lane.
Right.
We prepared a number of schedules for the board, one addressing the criteria that the board would analyze in connection with the request. In addition, letters from the neighbors. We have 4 letters in support. I have a 5th one here and then also a letter from the Raymonds to their neighbor to the south, which I'll hand to Tara. We
So
brought-
you can give to the secretary, and she'll include it in our package for the next meeting. Let me ask you a question. Yeah, a lot of stuff, a little street down there. There's a lot of things going on. There's a pool and
It's a busy neighborhood.
13 houses, got a pool and another house. I got a question, because I attended the pre-application meeting with, a certain number of people and your client. It was my understanding that 28 and 30 were going to be joined together.
I'll explain that.
Sure. Go ahead.
So the proposal for the board is, the proposal in front of the board is to merge the parcels, 28 and 30. As you're aware from the other applicants that have come before you tonight, the parcels are a particular width and size, roughly 15,000 square feet in size, but they're half submerged, so they go out into the Hudson River. There's about 7,500 square foot of usable space on each parcel. The original proposal involved keeping the lots separate, and that would, although they were proposed to be used together, and obviously they're separate parcels right now. There's value to them as separate parcels, but the Raymonds have a plan to use their property for a singular residential use, and because of that, the proposal that's submitted to the town is to merge those parcels into one parcel, which would create a more conforming parcel, as opposed to having two separate applications go before you with variances down to the 0 setback in between. The Raymonds felt it would be simpler, cleaner. Certainly there's potential for loss in value by not keeping them separate, but they're willing to go forward with a merged parcel. They've consulted me in connection with the proposed merger. We believe that it achieves the intent of the zoning code. If you look at that section of town, frankly, to have the zoning that's in place, frankly, it doesn't really make too much sense with the minimum acreage requirement that's there. It's so significant that no one can do anything on that property or on that lane without coming to the Zoning Board of Appeals. So I don't think anybody's interested in going to the town board for a rezoning, but we certainly aren't. In connection with that, like I said, in connection with our application, however, we are proposing to merge that land into one parcel, and that merger would happen after the municipality grants approvals. If it does, it would be the zoning board and the conservation commission, but prior to the issuance of a building permit, we would go to the assessor, submit a letter to the assessor to confirm that we desire to have a merger. From a zoning purpose, it would happen immediately upon title coming into one or the other owner of that property. So while the Raymonds are the individual members of the entities that own that property, if you either took one or the other and conveyed the property, your zoning code says that when non-conforming properties come into a singular ownership, they are automatically merged for zoning purposes. We would take it a step further and ask the assessor to remove the line, which would be accomplished with by the amendment to the tax map.
Okay. And I think I was in the understanding that when they came before the board, that the properties were going to be merged. The houses are going to be demolished. From what I understand, the two houses there are going to be demolished.
That's right.
Okay. My only question would be to the attorney would be, if it's still two separate lots, how are we going to give the variances if it was approved?
Well, we are not proposing two separate lots.
No, I'm saying
okay.
it's two separate lots as we stand here today.
That's right, but it would be merged prior to the issuance of a building permit.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be merged prior to the issuance of our resolution.
Right, but your resolution would be conditioned on the merger. So we're in a catch-22. We're not going.
You're
But
right.
you're not in a legal catch-22 because the condition is very clear. Your resolution would be conditioned that prior to the issuance of any building permit, proof would have to be supplied to the municipality that the lots have been merged. So we would go to the assessor, perform the merger process. We would also have a deed, which would we would either put the ownership in singular ownership. We'd have to. So we'd have this, effectively a two-step process. We'd have a legal merger by title that let me go back. By putting the property in a singular ownership, we would have a merger in accordance with your zoning code. The next step would be the removal of the line between the two properties. That would happen with the assessor, and that would be by amendment to the tax map. So we would bring to the building inspector respectfully, proof that the merger has occurred. And once the building inspector has proof, then the effect of the variance would take effect, and we'd be able to move forward.
Mr. Rod?
That's a fair characterization. Obviously, he still needs the variances.
Oh, we haven't got to that, yeah.
Right.
I haven't got that far. I'm just trying to say, because I thought it was coming as one piece, you know, I'll be honest, at the pre-application meeting. You know, so I didn't realize we're still going to be two lots as we make a determination.
It's proposed, you know, ultimately to be one lot, and the proposal entails numerous area variances,
Right.
which we certainly can consider.
Right, right. Is there any, well, actually, this is just to see if it was complete. Is there anything missing here, or any questions?
Can you point me on your deed to the address? Because I couldn't find an address on
bear
the
with me.
deed.
So the Schedule A description is what controls.
Schedule A?
I'm just going to approach.
Okay. I'm looking at,
28 or 30? Which one?
well, I have 3, the section 3, but I'm missing section 4. I see everybody else seems to have it.
So, the first deed is the deed between Linda A. Ward,
Yeah.
the trustee.
Right,
Lucky enough.
right. Yeah, I see that, but I don't see an address on it.
Okay, so if you go to the second page,
Right.
there's a tax map, 89.7-1-8, and I believe it was just photocopied out of order.
She catches all this stuff. You gotta be careful.
Well,
Okay, I'm telling you.
no, I was looking at it, and I just didn't.
So there's a Schedule A description for that particular piece of
Yeah.
property, and then you can also track the RP 5217. If you want to just flip a few pages, you'll get to a Department of Taxation and Finance form.
Section 4?
I'm sorry, we're in Section 3.
Section 3,
Yeah.
section 3.
Okay, I grabbed the wrong text.
That's all right.
Yeah, I don't have section 4.
Okay. So,
1-3.
the RP,
This,
that's what you're looking at?
Yeah.
That has the tax map ID number and the address of the property.
See-
That'll have,
I don't see it.
yeah, if you go to, just right above the signatures on the left-hand side, you'll see 89.7-1-8,
Where am I looking?
and that's the corresponding, if you look at the very top, line number 1 is the property address, 28 Hudson River Lane.
Oh, I see it. Okay, it's really hard
Yeah,
to
it's very
read.
small.
Okay.
Okay, and
All
then,
right.
for what would be Section 4 for your particular binder is the next deed.
Yeah, I'll have to look on with someone else because I don't have that. It was omitted from my binder. Okay, 30. I see 30. Okay.
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 And do you see the highlight?
Yeah.
Part of the second part, 30 Hudson River Lane.
Mm-hmm.
And
St. Joe, Missouri.
the meets and bounds description, which is the Schedule A. That is the actual surveyor's description of the property.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Any other questions for any board members? All right, this time, huh?
294.
You got a question?
How could it be just dated 12/18? Okay. Okay, no.
No? You're good?
Just
And
in
I-
in point of clarification, just looking at the plans as I understand it, there's, and I'm just characterizing it, there would be 2 structures, one on each lot, but there's like a link between the 2 structures, sort of a deck?
Yeah, so it is a single family residence. It's unique. We're not, it's a unique design. But so there are 2 structures to be used in common as a single family residence connected by a deck. You'd see that a house and a garage connected by a breezeway would be categorized as one structure. We met with the building inspector. We have our denial in connection with our proposal, and it's been categorized as a single-family house. It's intended to be used that way. The total bedroom count is 2. And if you guys want, I can go through if you think it's worthwhile, just a run-through of what's there versus what's proposed. Unless you don't need
No, we
to.
could do that at the public hearing.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I would want, for the public hearing, you provided a plan showing different neighbors, but you didn't, your map didn't show the neighbor that is next to the 5.9 setback.
Oh, I thought we had the, I'll re-review. I thought we supplied information showing where they were. Bear with me here. There's a few schematics. One of them is the water to land proximity. That's in tab number 2. That's this document.
Tab number 2.
Tab number 2, go ahead.
Tab number 2.
Yeah, basically, I just would like to know how close the house is to the to.
For instance, the house is on the next properties. How close is it to us?
Right, on the 5 point.
5.9 side.
Yes.
Okay. We can supply that.
Right.
You're gonna need I guess, Army Corps and the engineers and all like that, you're gonna need approval from them, or?
Yeah, so Army Corps will be required for purposes of the wall reconstruction, and I actually have to turn to Dana. Is Army Corps required for the house, or is it just the outdoor? It's the wall. Is that?
It's the wall.
Okay.
But we don't want to do anything until we know what, if we're going to receive our area variances. So we're just waiting.
There's a repair proposed to the stone wall, and that stone wall is the edge of the Hudson River. And it's that repair that triggers the Army Corps permit, not the actual reconstruction of the house.
Right, because there's a number, I look at, there's like seven variants, 6 or 7 variants.
Yeah, there's 7 variances.
So we can do that at the public hearing.
Yeah, and we'll supply any more information, anything I could think of that we haven't provided. I think we captured it all, but if there's anything out there, including the distance for the northern property, we'll bring it.
Okay.
Make sure that we have it.
Okay, let me get this. So basically, you're gonna merge 2 lots, so this is actually on 1 lot, this
That's
house.
right.
Okay.
Yep.
Does any part of the deck go over any body of water?
No.
Okay.
No, and we supplied a drawing to show exactly where the water is versus the proposed.
Okay.
What page?
And you can see where we are.
What page is that?
That's,
Oh, yeah.
that's a document, that's in tab 2.
Tab 2.
Now, I know there's a floodplain down there.
I'll email you a complete binder, and that way.
Okay.
And I'll bring another one today.
Well, no, that's not the problem. I was,
Oh, you missing something?
no, I was looking at the certificate of occupancy, and it's like, you can't read it. Does everybody else have the same certificate of occupancy that I do?
Yes, I do, yeah.
Yeah,
I can't read it either, it's half blocked out.
Yeah,
right.
it looks like whoever copied it, maybe had a piece of paper on it or something like that. Maybe, could you see what she's talking about?
I can, so we'll.
Get that cleared
If our
up.
copy is, if we can get a clearer copy, we will.
Okay, because I mean, this
We all
is,
have a copy like that, yeah.
yeah, because that doesn't,
Good catch, Paul.
I mean, I think that's a problem, that
Yeah.
certificate of occupancy, I don't think that's acceptable the way it is.
Yeah.
We can ask the code enforcement officer, are there any open certificates of occupancy or not?
We're gonna tear down the houses anyway, so it's.
Yeah.
I
right.
mean,
Both houses are gonna be torn down.
Look, I don't want to
Okay.
assume variance is granted,
Right.
but at the end of the day, we would have a completely new certificate of occupancy for
Are you
the.
gonna are you going to need to go before the Conservation Board on this?
We will, yeah,
will.
but with the size of the investment that needs to be made, what we wanted to do was,
Right.
frankly, complete our proposal with the zoning board, and then we would go to conservation. And that way, we knew we'd be able to, it's a fairly significant amount of money getting through each of the steps of the process.
Honestly.
But knowing where we stand with zoning is very helpful for purposes of applying to the Conservation Commission. And again, it's kind of like a chicken-egg situation. You don't know if the Conservation Commission is going to do anything. They don't know if you're going to do anything. But at the end of the day, with the variances that are required, we figured we would select the zoning board to start with and then proceed.
Okay. All right, any other questions anybody have? All right, this time I make a motion that the application be complete.
Second. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Paul?
Just-
Aye, okay, so now, I'm sorry, the application is complete.
Great.
You're going to have to see a clear copy on the other thing, you know.
We'll
like
bring that and we'll get that distance.
Yeah, and then that'll be May 14th,
Fantastic.
7:30, okay?
Thank you so much.
And
We
the letters, you
appreciate
have
it.
the addresses for, sent out for the neighbors? I know, even though I know we got a lot of letters, everybody likes the idea, it's still letters
Yeah,
have to
no,
be-
absolutely. We'll do
letters
the
still have to
neighbor
go.
notice.
There's always one neighbor that may not like it. You know what I'm trying to say.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, I think that's it. Mr. Prentice, you asked to give us some time.
I won't keep you guys long. I just want you to make sure, I have a present for you here.
Sure, more presents.
It's not really a present, but this is a press release that, you see you have your signature tie on today. But when you had your picture taken for your firm's book, that was the tie you were wearing.
You've been stalking me.
Yeah. Boy, boy. Thank you. Nat, that's getting a little scary there, Nat, come on.
How do you?
This is,
Thank you.
the only reason we're here is just to let you know that we are in the process of trying to make the comprehensive plan for the town a better document. It
Yeah.
hasn't been looked at formally for 10 years.
10 years, yeah, all right.
It was finished in 2006, having the process of writing it began in 2001. So I kind of got after the town board, is John still here, to see if they couldn't help us appoint a committee. And I want to introduce you to Terry Wavata, who's a member of our committee. All the members of the committee are listed on the bottom of this press release that explains a bit about what we think our mission is. But the reason we wanted to come to you was just to let you know that the process is going on in the hopes that you would. I'm just thinking about it, Grant. Your dad was on that. You know, when that group got started, your dad was on that group. Just to let you know that the process is on, and that the plan itself is in easily. I mean, we can get you a nice big thick copy, but you probably carry one with you just about everywhere you go, right, Bob?
No, I got it. I sleep with it.
That's right. But it's nicely available on the town's website, so if you wish to read it through again, please do. I mean, it appears to the committee, and these are all preliminary findings, that the plan itself is actually pretty well written and is likely to carry on pretty much the way it's currently is, although it does need a few tweaks. It needs some updates. There are some things going on now that were not contemplated at the time.
Cell towers.
There's one. So we're hoping that we'll write, and Terry's going to, and several members of the town board have taken it, well, at least Mike Leonard has taken it under his wing to try to develop kind of a comprehensive approach to the whole notion of communications, including, so we'll try to, any thoughts you have about how it ought to be written or what the language should be. Remember now, we're doing the vision piece. This is just the easy-to-read vision piece as opposed to the hard-to-read zoning code that you all are faced with day to day. But any help you'd be willing to give us in writing the language is most welcome. I mean, we're trying to make this, and perhaps, Adam, you would help us with this in particular. I mean, we're not draftspeople. We are good listeners. And I think we'd be able to find a home for whatever language you all think would give the town's vision something that you're better able to work with. So we want to make this a two-way street. we'd like to get your thoughts about it, how best to get you to think about it, because you're busy and you got these matters to hear about. I don't know. I mean, we'll take it to you any way you want. If you want us to come back in a couple of months and see how you're doing, looking at the plan, we will.
Sure.
But we just want to be proactive, because this is.
Being proactive, one of the things I can think of is the cell towers right now. Cell towers seems to be one of our biggest issues, so.
Yeah.
How it's going to be addressed. The town board would have to, maybe change the current regulations,
We've done extensive research on cell towers and how other communities are handling them. And it goes beyond just cell towers. There's the whole future of what new electronic connectivity will, evolve. And the fact that we're so limited here through cable for internet. But we have looked at several codes for cell towers, and we will make recommendations. I believe that they've been forwarded to the planning board, in fact, to look at.
Yeah, anything like that, we would appreciate it. Because the codes are different. Like, our codes are different than Cold Spring or Nelsonville, you know what I'm trying to say? So, cell tower here could be, let's say, 180 feet, and Nelsonville could only be 110 feet or something like that. So, even though it's all Philipstown, it gets confusing.
Yeah.
So if we could, I know you, as far as Philipstown, if we come up with some kind of a change, it would be appreciated.
Well, it'd be good.
Or a suggestion. You can't change it, but I mean, a suggestion to the town board.
Yeah, and I mean, this is not the law part. This is
Right.
the vision part,
Vision. Right.
and we encourage the development of, or the non-development of, as opposed to you can't.
I know you have great vision there. I have complete confidence in it.
I would just like
Yes, Paula.
I would just like to say that in terms of cell towers, there was just an attempt in the state government to put an attachment to the state budget on 5G. That's the and what they were what the budget what the I guess it's kind of like a law. It was attached to the budget, and it would have eliminated local towns' ability to say whether they wanted 5G or not. 5G is little cell towers, like every 300 feet or some such, close, and it's 24/7 radiation that could be close to your home. That there was a movement to get it out of the budget, and it did get out of the budget. It was first got out of the Assembly, then it got out of the Senate, and then the governor took it out of the budget. But now it's coming back as a proposed law. So if that happens, we won't have any.
You wouldn't be able to see. So we
wouldn't have to go before the zoning board.
No, we would have no rights.
Right. It'd just be, you're going to have 5G.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
So you can stream Frozen up on the top of wherever you are.
That's right. So I just wanted to make that comment. The people might want to follow what's going on with the state legislature
No,
on that.
This is not an easy one, and we're nowhere near to the bottom of it. But the fact that that's the one thing that you all are talking about with us. I mean, maybe there are others, but
that, right now, that seems to be our big issue right now.
Well, the other consideration that we're looking at is more and more companies will be allowing people to work from home. So you're going to have that push and pull of if you're here in Philipstown and you're not going into the city, you need to have the latest technology to keep you connected. So it's.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with that unless they open it up as a business, you know what I mean? That would be only, I guess only works from home, we wouldn't have any issue. That wouldn't come under zoning. Anybody can work from home. But if they decided to hang out a shingle outside the door or something like that, that would become a different issue.
I think Terry maybe everybody working at home may want access to certain communication technologies that allow them to do things that they can't currently do. So we're going to have somehow or another have a balance.
Meet in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, there's pluses and minuses too.
Can I suggest something on that?
Sure. How you doing? Good seeing you.
Identify areas that's where cell towers are allowed and areas where they're not allowed. And in those areas that are not allowed, propose that these areas are okay to develop distributed antenna systems, which are a very, very low, very, very unobtrusive thing. If we have that in our code and somebody comes and wants to put a cell tower in one of those areas, we can say it's not in the code, you can do this.
Right, yeah. Don't pardon my sensitivity to the term code versus plan, because this isn't the comprehensive plan isn't the code, but nonetheless, in the plan, we can definitely, because the old plan lays out certain areas that are developable as opposed to ones that aren't. So I think it's an excellent suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation, and I appreciate all the work you're doing.
Well, but we need your help,
help
and you've
you
given
want.
us some,
Whatever you want. Let us
so
know.
we'll come back. We'll come back and see how you're doing on the plan, in case there's something, because there may be something else
The
there.
other guy's supposed to be working on the plan.
But there may be, we're going to work every line of the plan, but there may be some things that we wouldn't think of, Bob, that you would think of, because it makes it
more
easier
work.
for you.
The last thing I need is more work. Okay.
All righty. Well, thank you for your time.
And let me know when your meetings are. And
well, you know what? Just so you know, the meet, and we'd be happy to. We do minutes, and we try to keep everybody. We try to have a little process associated with it. So, any of you are welcome. We meet right here in this space, unless somebody has already spoken for it, on the second and fourth Thursdays of the month, and it's an early one in case there's some other meeting coming on. It's 6:30. Here, the second and fourth Thursday of the month, and we're done by 7:45 or 8 because we just need to be.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes. Can you step up, please? I know who you are, but you got to. Thank you.
Liz, come on.
Come on.
Okay, Liz Armstrong, the Highlands Current. I have a quick question which I think fits both with the zoning board and what Nat's committee is doing, which is in light of the town's move toward becoming a climate-smart community, is anybody looking at changing the law or the comprehensive plan suggestions for the law regarding the kind of development you were talking about tonight down right on the riverbank, where, in Manitou Station Road, which did flood, and where, as I recall, people had to be rescued a few years ago.
Right.
Are you looking at whether you think any further development there is appropriate or not, or whether there should be some limit at some point put on that?
Right. Right. Well, that's something they could look at. But a lot of that would come under there again. Would be under the planning department. That would go to planning. I agree with you. But at this point in time, all we can go by is what the zoning code says, and the variance and all like that. So we don't have anything to say that you can't do this down there. All we have to go with by the law and the zoning code. So like the pool, I wouldn't put a pool 30 foot from the river, but that's not my pool. You know what I'm trying to say? So we could all we have to do is go by the law. Okay. Anybody else? Anything to say? Anything good? All right. At this point, I make the. Oh, thank you for your.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, adjourned.